So the ties are back, and so are the kids getting ready for school. We'll talk about what's coming up in the school year and introduce you to a candidate for judge. Looking forward to it. Roll it, Scott. It's August. It's August. Like, I can't even believe it already. The summer's gone. It's been hot as fish grease, as we like to say around here. But it's August, and that means the kids are going back to school. We got a lot to talk about as it relates to the education system here in East Baton Rouge Parish. And we begin with Tanisha Flowers, who is here with us in studio to talk about the Back to School Bash taking place this weekend. So first of all, can you believe the school year is starting already?
No, it seems like we just started our summer schedule and now we are rolling into the new school year.
Yeah. So let's talk about Back to School Bash. What's going on? So the teacher reception is on Friday, but Saturday is the big thing that happens at the River Center. Let's talk about that.
Yes, so this Saturday from 11 to 2 p.m., the East Baton Rouge Parish School System will be hosting a Back to School Bash for all of our students, all of their families and teachers, community partners as well, to just kind of come out and get ready to gear up for the new school year.
So you told me you were expecting about 2,000 people out there.
Yes, we're expecting about 2,000 people to show up on Saturday. We're super excited.
What information are you giving out? You see there's a picture of the graphic right there. What information are you giving out?
So we'll have about maybe 50 community partners, health screenings, just some fun stuff for the kids and families to do. The different departments will be there. So for example, if you have a student that's interested in early childhood education, you'd be able to go up, speak with a representative and sign your kids up for the school year right there at the River Center.
So what's your top goals for this thing? I know you're a perfectionist, we were just talking about that, but what are your goals?
So really we just want our families and communities to know that we appreciate them. Again, school is getting ready to start back. We just want everybody to go into the school year extremely relaxed and kind of roll out some things that they'll be looking to see this upcoming school year.
Can kids expect anything new and innovative during the school year? Last week we had Chef Marie was here to talk about the nutrition standard that you guys have raised over there and what y'all will be feeding these kids this year. Anything else you could let us in on?
The new school menu, that's something that we're super excited about. Also our esports department, you know, technology is propelling forward and the esports department is actually going to come out and have an interactive segment and students will actually probably be able to sign up for some esports tournaments, you know, just something to look forward to.
Across the district or in certain schools?
I think it's only certain schools right now, but students from across the district are allowed to participate.
What's your take on attendance now? How's the public school system doing in terms of keeping kids? And you know, there's all this, I don't want to use the word competition because it's all for the same thing, the education of the kids, but how is that going right now?
So right now attendance is pretty steady. As you know, we have some people who like to register at the last minute. So
no, not in Louisiana.
Absolutely. So we're encouraging them to get there as soon as possible so you can have everything worked out as far as bus routes, make sure we have the proper mailing address, contact information. So we're encouraging them to get there as soon as possible to take care of those things. But you know, attendance it is what it is right now.
Administration and staff, they're kind of already there, getting ready for the year. The kids return starting next week. What's the enthusiasm level for teachers right now outside of the fact the summer was that fast?
I think teachers are really, really excited. As you know, we just approved a slight stipend for some of our educators and support staff. So teachers are in a really, really good space right now. I think they're eager, they're excited to tackle the school year and just get everything going.
All right, before we go through it, I want you to look right in that camera right there. Give me camera 3, and I want you to make your pitch to everybody about the Back to School Bash and say why they should be there. Show up on Saturday.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Tanisha Flowers, and I'm the Public Information Officer for the East Baton Rouge Parish School System. This Saturday, we are looking to see you, your family, and friends at the River Center downtown from 11 to 2 for the Baton Rouge. For the Back to School Bash. Clay, you make me so nervous.
Don't worry about it. I'm going to send Narcisse a whole invoice. That was a good commercial for the event. Pop that graphic up there one more time, Scott. That's this Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. You could look at that monitor right there at the River Center. The Back to School Bash. The school year is starting. We couldn't be more excited to welcome the best and brightest back to they're our greatest investment.
Oh, absolutely.
The children of East Baton Rouge Parish.
And we had some amazing sponsors to make this happen for us. So we had Cox Communications, the YWCA, Capitol Park Museum, our illustrious mayor, Ms. Sharon Weston Broom. So we're all kind of rallying together to do this for our students.
Love it. Back to School Bash this weekend at the River Center. Starts at 11 a.m. There's a reception for teachers that happens on Friday. So Jade Miller is Director of Advocacy and Family Engagement, long title, at the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students, where this week you guys held an event engaging parents as the school year is about to begin. Before we talk about the agenda of that, give people the elevator on what Baton Rouge Alliance for Students is.
Yeah, so we're an education nonprofit. We have leadership programming such as Changemakers that is currently open now. I do the parent work, so we have a fellowship strictly for parents, which is the Parent Academy. And we also do some just political work for people that want to run campaigns or are interested in running for office themselves with our Torch program. So we are full gear with our programs and issue-based campaigns and just trying to plug in the need in our community.
What's Changemakers?
So Changemakers is a leadership program that if you haven't had experience in education, maybe you're a business owner or you're just not familiar with the space, we try to do a deep dive into K-12 and for people to learn about the education ecosystem in Baton Rouge.
You know, Tanisha was just in here a second ago talking about EBR starting up and the big event this weekend at the River Center. The Alliance has been involved in dialogue about what's happening with public schools, both traditional public schools and non-traditional, being charter schools. How do you feel coming into this year? Because you are the advocacy point and you're engaging families. How do you feel about this upcoming school year?
I feel really great. I think the summertime is always like the recharge where we're just kind of going back to like our strategic planning and just really gearing up to like have our programs kick off. So this is the most exciting time. Kids and teachers are going back to school and we're just really trying to be in the community as much as we can in the first month to help with that transition and just kind of kick it off for our projects in the fall.
You know, it's interesting. I mentioned to her at the end of her being Tanisha at the end of the segment, how important an asset all the kids of any community are. And we talk about where we are as a city, but you can't talk about Baton Rouge becoming better in any way without addressing what's happening to our kids. Right?
Absolutely. And I think when it comes to just our Parent Academy, what we do is just really try to curate a lane for parents. So when we think about just our educators, our administrators and our students, like we have to be able to elevate that parent as the #1 stakeholder and making sure that we're taking account of what's important to them and how can we bring that to light and advocate and just even teach them how to be more empowered to be aligned with their child's education.
What's the biggest hill they have to climb when you bring parents in to one of these trainings? What's the biggest thing you hear that you help address by doing this?
I think lack of information. I think as a parent, you are digesting so much when it comes to just navigating their own careers, being a parent, and then our school system just has so many ins and outs to it. So like really trying to bring the information to them and just help them see the bigger picture. We bring in experts and just kind of help them comprehensively understand like all the ins and outs of the school system.
You know, I'm going to be talking to Kyle Thinking in the next segment about people who want to come into the education profession and become teachers. I know across the country there's a shortage, not just here, it's everywhere. What do you think it's going to take outside of money to stem the tide of the shortage?
You know, as someone who's a former educator, I think we really have to just highlight the good things that are going on in our community. You know, teaching is an amazing profession. It's where I started off at. And I think just going back to the basics, helping people understand the foundation of how important educators are, we can really do some good things and build that pipeline back in our city.
Do you think there is a coalition building across all of the different areas of education here? I mean, we've had so many silos here for a long time, been around a long time, and the sides didn't talk to each other a whole lot. That seems to be changing a little bit. What grade would you give that, and how much farther do we have to go?
So I would say this week, I actually had an amazing meeting with Education Trust, who's doing some really good things. Tramel Howard is their state director. We also met with New Schools of Baton Rouge and really just trying to like, how do we really help to break down those silos? So I do agree, we haven't been the best in the past, but I think we're off to a great start. We have some amazing things planned for the fall, and I think you'll start to see all the organizations come together.
Give me in the last minute or so the couple things that you're the most excited about in this coming school year, and the things that you may be apprehensive about or most thinking it could be a concern that we have to address?
Yeah, so most excited about really engaging with educators. So we have our Parent Academy. We kicked off our first series of Ask the Experts, so we had a huge turnout with that event. So I'm super excited that parents are just starting off even before we start the school year ready and engaged. And more so just making sure that we are coalition building with all our partners. So I think we have a lot of different things that we're going to bring to this fall, and I'm really excited to see how that all comes to play.
All right. So how can people learn more about the Alliance quickly?
Yeah, so if you go to beouralliance.org, we have all our initiatives and our leadership programs on our website. So please reach out to us and we're free to chat with us.
All right, we're going to talk about people who want to get into education, some of the resources that are available, and then a little bit about the budget with Kyle Finke next. And before we wrap, you'll meet a candidate for judge here. And next week, we're going to be on the road, taking the whole thing on the road. All this is going to be on the road at Don Juan Cigars. Looking forward to that. Back in just a moment. So Kyle Finke is with the Louisiana Resource Center for Educators, and the theme, at least in the first 3 segments, has been about the school year that is starting next week for most people here in East Baton Rouge Parish. But before we get into that, let's talk a bit about LRCE for people who don't know about it. What is it?
Sure. Yeah, Louisiana Resource Center for Educators started in '98 here in Baton Rouge. We're still located, headquartered here in Baton Rouge, but we do work all over the state of Louisiana, training teachers for all our different parishes and schools. And that's our primary lane right now. If you want to become a teacher and you have a bachelor's degree, you can come through LRCE to get that teaching certificate. If you already have your teaching certificate and you want to add on special education, again, LRCE has a program for that.
So that's one of the things you heard me talk about with Jade, was getting more teachers into the classroom. What are your thoughts on the shortages right now?
Gosh, it's everywhere. I mean, we do a lot of work nationally with a lot of different schools for education, and also thinking about it locally in all our different parishes. And basically, it has gone from where we might have a shortage for math or science or special education to, I had a superintendent call me just last week and they needed a high school social studies teacher, which I jokingly call coaches. Like, if we can't hire a social studies teacher for a high school and there's a wait list to try to get somebody into there, that's certainly a shortage. And
it's true, a lot of the social
they're
studies
coaches.
teachers were coaches.
No, just kidding. They're not all coaches, but
well, maybe 100 years ago they were. But now that you say that, I could name a couple people, but I won't do that. So Texas seems to be able to keep teachers, and the big reason we tie to that is money. Is that all there is?
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of green grass going on there. Us sitting here and us going there. And some of our work, I was in Austin in June, as I was telling you earlier, and those districts, those ISDs are struggling to find teacher educators, teacher leaders, just like we are.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. And they train a lot of teachers in Texas, and they have retention issues just like we do.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say they're not paying their teachers better than we are. They certainly are. But that's one lever that has to be pulled. And kudos to EBR's school board and approving a little bit of a stipend. I think any educator who's teaching is going to appreciate that. We'd like to see something more permanent, larger. But even all of our parishes could really do a lot of work on figuring out a sustainable path to staying in the classroom. We want somebody that can maybe choose this amazing profession and be able to stay there 15, 20 years and raise a family of 4 if they so choose. So,
how do you get someone to transition from another profession into education, knowing the narrative out there about it right now?
Well, and I'm not going to convince you to stop running this show and come teach unless you have that spark inside of you that wants to be an educator. So we do have to discover and see if that's there. That's one thing that we would ask about. Why are you even considering this? There are practical elements to it as well. So you're talking about a profession where if you do have that spark, this is something that really can fulfill you in a lot of ways. You're talking about something that a project each year, almost like if you had 30 third graders coming to you, you can almost view it as a year-long project to get them to a point that you want them to be in the future. And that has a certain sense of control.
How do we attract more African-American males to the classroom as teachers?
Well, we do need to talk about the other benefits of teaching. So it's one of the professions in our state that has a pension tied to it. There's security in teaching. We're still have kids coming through school, ergo we're still going to need teachers in front of there. And if you're looking for something that kind of meets that and your passion, I think there's an appeal to be made around how do we have an impact on the next generation, and that's important across all demographics, not just African American males, but incredibly important in that space.
I do. I think I had the new principal for Capitol High here maybe 3 weeks ago, and I like seeing black men in classrooms and at the helm of schools because of the population of the kids in the school. And they need to see that. They need to, and I do so many things with kids because it's hard as hell to hold them accountable for not having perspective about something they've never seen.
That's right.
Or heard about up close.
Yeah.
And so you just have to be visible with them. In the last minute that I have left in the segment, if people want to learn more about LRCE, where should they go? What can they do?
Sure. So our website, lrce.org, has all of our programs available and the different links that you can go through to learn more about that. We still are probably one of the few organizations that have a live receptionist. Anybody that's ever called LRCE will talk to Miss V at the front desk, and she can get a message to any of us that are on the team. But I really appreciate, encourage people to check those things out. We're on social media and Facebook and LinkedIn and what have you.
Well, listen, don't be a stranger. You got a space here if you need to come in and talk about what's happening with your organization or if y'all have events coming up.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate it.
All right, let's talk about this upcoming political season with a candidate for judge who's on the desk with me next. Well, she's a graduate of Grambling State University and the Southern University Law School and is now a candidate for district judge in the 19th JDC. Lynn Leger, a very, very French and Louisiana last name.
Yes.
If you're not from here, how many times do people botch that name if they're not from here? Ligier?
Every day. Even people from here.
Even people from here? Oh, that's unacceptable. That's
Yeah.
unacceptable. So let's talk about why you are running. You're the first person running for political office this year that we've had on the show in this cycle. So tell me why you're running.
Because I want to be able to speak with people, let people understand how the system works while they're in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Because I've been in the courtroom for so long on the defense side and on some of the civil work. I've been on the plaintiff side, and people really never understand why they're there, especially not our jurors, and how important it is. And so I feel like as a judge and from that platform, if I can help people to understand how the court system works, and then the justice that can come from there, I think that people will be at least a little bit more comfortable coming in.
What is the people talk a lot at East Baton Rouge Parish right now, as you know, we have had some issues with violent crime. Although homicides are down this year and have been down all year, even though people don't really believe that. I think we're down 15% right now in the parish.
We are.
But one of the links in the chain that gets the most private criticism is the court.
Yes.
And what the courts are or are not doing.
Correct.
First, what's your perspective on that criticism, and how would you contribute to the elimination of it?
Well, the main issue is people don't understand the position of judges. Judges, according to the Judiciary Commission, are not allowed to discuss anything. So if nothing is said, then people can run with it in their minds. That's one part. Then the other part is that people don't understand that people are entitled to bonds to get out. However, like in the old days, if you commit a crime again, while you're out on bond, you can't get out.
Right.
That's just the bottom line.
Right.
And so I think that once we educate the public about what is actually happening, because I think the main concern is repeat offenders. You know, anybody can get in trouble. Anybody can have a misunderstanding. However, the main concern is how people are committing crimes, getting out, going back and committing another crime. And, you know, back before, we couldn't do that.
You know, I've had this conversation with Chief Paul a number of times, and he has said it even at press conferences. They're arresting the same people over and over and over and over again. So that would tend to mean something is going wrong when they get into the system that doesn't keep them there, or they're getting out and then graduating to the next level of whatever they're doing. How do you address that?
Like I just said, once people get arrested, they go and, you know, commit a crime or however they are, they get a bond. If you get in trouble again, you don't get out. That's number one. But then number two, while people are in the process of going through the criminal procedures, then you can do other conditions of bonds. You know, you could have them make sure. The biggest issue is, like you spoke with the other man earlier, is the education. While they're out, they need to be educated.
Yeah.
And they need to, because the idle hands is a devil's workshop. We know that already. So while they're out, they need to be accountable and be accountable to someone. Not only be accountable to the court, but also be accountable to our citizens in our communities.
There is no elimination of crime without investment in the community. It can't just
Correct.
be lock them up, lock them up, lock them
No,
up. It
no.
doesn't work. There's data that proves it doesn't work. You have to make the investment where it's
Right.
needed the most. You know, as a judge, you're not going to be a pundit. You're not going to be out, you know, and as you said, you're prohibited from doing that. But you do hold a certain distinction of authority in the community.
Correct.
What do you hope to relay to the community that you would serve if you're elected?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So I believe that, you know, once I get on the bench, and like you say, from that level of commitment that I'll have, is that we have to go out into the communities. We have to go out, I say, hey, let's adopt, if each one of the judges, which I will make that challenge, if each one of the judges adopt at least 2 elementary schools, so that way they can see that we're out, that we're real people, and that we're concerned. We're not just here to lock people up, or on the civil side, because we will be doing some civil, and or even on the civil side to take people's money from one person to the other. If you go out and you educate the children, then you're also educating the parents. And if you adopt the 2 schools, elementary, at that stage, because that's really where it starts. If we do that, and then we also have more of the organizations within our communities, that would help.
Quickly here, how can people learn more about you and your candidacy?
You can go to Lynn for Judge on all platforms.
I don't know what you're going to do during that weekend in September when all those games are going on, but we won't get into that. Thank you so much, Lynn.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you guys have a great weekend. Stay cool, and good luck to all the kids going back to school. God bless all of y'all.